Joining me now is Michael Weiner. The Federal Reserve has, for the second time this year, cut interest rates. And I guess more is to come. The gold market has really not responded to this. It is going to create more inflation, I'm sure, because it's, again, making available more credit. Digits, if you will, creating money in a thin air. The question is, what will this do, if anything, for gold, silver, and the economy? Joining me now is Michael Weiner. Michael, I don't think if they cut interest rates, you're going to see a huge jump into housing. I know some are saying that, and I thought that for a while. But after talking with you, after talking to Mitch Wexler, many of you are thinking that for the average home buyer, it's not just the interest rates, it's the price of the homes. Bringing the interest rates down is not going to make much of a difference because the homes are still too overpriced for most home buyers, particularly first-time or second home buyers. True or false?
Absolutely. I totally agree with Mitch. Not only is there collusion with this whole property tax situation, that's a disaster, but there's been collusion, and I said on a show 8 months ago, eight months ago, and these realtors are just pushing these prices. They shot themselves in the foot for what they've done to this entire real estate market across the country. In a lot of places where the prices are absolutely ridiculous, how does a first-time buyer come up with the necessary deposit to buy a house for $500,000 as their first starter home? My first starter home was 30 grand. I mean, the reality is everything is relative, but you know, for the prices, for example, a house here in Arizona in March of 2020, at the beginning of COVID, could have been $300,000. 4 years later, it's $900,000. Why? Because Arizona became a hotspot because during COVID, and they just didn't let go of it. And it's gone on that way all around the country. And right now, the people don't, as we discussed privately, Brandon, people don't have the money nor the inclination. It's cheaper for them to rent. They get all the accolades without bearing any of the costs. And it's becoming very apparent to people, maybe the American dream is to be rich enough to rent, because then you have somebody else bearing all of the costs and upkeep, and you can enjoy the fruits of their labor, actually.
So how many more rate cuts do you expect this year?
I think there's a good chance there's going to be another one in December. I just think that we're seeing, you would think it would look at it as a positive, but the stock market went down afterwards. So why? Because they're concerned about the inflation it kicks off, and they're also concerned about the currency. And I think also that ties into the situation of the shutdown. Shutdown is absolutely gone berserk. So, and I think you're going to see something very interesting if this communist, heretic, Muslim lunatic gets put into power in New York City. I'm looking at two things as somebody who had friends that died in World Trade Center. 25th anniversary is in 2026, and they're going to have an idiot communist, heretic, Muslim as the mayor overseeing that event when he turned around and said the United States deserved it. I mean, this is a very bad period of time in this country, and I think that a lot of people are thinking twice, at least especially a younger person, about buying a home. I have a son. One of my sons could more than afford to buy a home right now, and he said, "I'm not paying that price, Dad. We're not doing it. It's got to correct itself. It doesn't make sense." And I think that's the way a lot of younger people are thinking. It's just absolutely outrageous. And it's being upheld by, you come back to your realtor and they'll realize, well, the appraiser is holding up with that price. The appraisal is, my answer is, I don't care what his appraisal is. That's all based on false numbers all around the neighborhood. And meanwhile, none of these people are selling houses. The ones that are have a realtor come in, list their house, and then 3 months later, as they become more desperate, tells them to cut the price by 20 or 30%, and then they have a fire sale. So that's a lot of things, but some of the young people are waiting now. You have a very upwardly not mobile situation, and you have an inverted, crazy marketplace, and that is going to have an effect. That's the American dream gone bad.
Yep. American dream gone bad. All right. So where are we at with gold? Gold is down under $4,000 now. Silver is down around, what, $48 and some odd cents?
Yeah.
Where do you see this going? I mean, is it going to get a little floor here in the pullback and then get ready to go back up, or what?
Well, first of all, pardon me, gold went up almost nonstop for, God, almost 8 weeks. And as I said before in one of the shows, we need a correction. It's healthy to have a correction. It's very healthy for the market because it allows it to build a base. If you remember what happened when it hit 3,000 or 2,000, it drifted below and then came back and built the base. So I'm expecting it could go down in the mid 3,800s, but I think that there'll be a kick up before year end. I think it'll be tied into this new CR that's coming up in November. I think that I think when Trump returns, he's got to get the Republicans to take action, and I think that the U.S. dollar is going to be in a horrible shape. And plus, we have interest payments on our debt and other things that has to be dealt with, and we don't have anybody working at the Treasury Department. There's a lot of things on the table right now that would point to gold hitting. I think you got to understand the people who make money in the market, the people in New York and Chicago make a fortune when they push the market down. These guys legitimately took advantage of knowing that there was going to be a correction and ran it even further, because you're not talking about making $1 million like Governor Pritzker, who went to gamble. That's another interesting story when they're talking about the mob running gambling and he made $1 million. Maybe he's the mob. But back to this. If they can run the market down $300 in gold, somebody made hundreds of millions of dollars when that happens. So I think that will stabilize itself. And I think year-end gold will be over 4,000, might move towards 4,100. But I think the market will stabilize itself. But you might see a little bit of a drawback here. But it's all healthy for all you people out there on gold. Don't get nervous. It's time to buy, really, because it's down for no fundamental reason. And by the time it turns itself around, you'll pay more and get less. That's all.
A friend called me today, said their wife has about $200,000 in gold. And I said, does she have the physical possession? He said, no, it's somewhere on the East Coast. I said, does she have the serial numbers for each bar? He said, I don't know. He called to ask what, she should do, because she was getting phone calls from people saying this would be a great time to sell. So some gold company was trying to get her to sell it. And he's like, what do you think? And I said, well, do you have your house paid off? Yeah, we have no debt. So, okay, good. I said, well, my first concern is she doesn't have serial numbers to go with her gold. So does she actually own physical gold, or does she own a promissory note? Because when the music stops, she gets nothing. So I said, that's what you need to go do. So that he hung up and he was going to go try to find out, does she actually own physical gold in a vault, or does she own paper as a promise? Otherwise, I say you probably need to take possession of it and then lock it away yourself. Or you could, go buy a piece of rental property, pay cash. But of course, the market he's in, good luck. In our market, yeah, you could come very close to buying a good rental property for $250, $265 that you could cash flow with no debt. But yeah, he was calling because his wife is getting phone calls from a gold dealer wanting her to cash out.
Well, they're not wanting her necessarily to cash out. I guarantee you they want her to swap out. If they're doing anything at all, they're calling her and telling her to swap out.
For what?
And if they tell for other metal, maybe to silver, go to silver or something like that. So there's two things either.
Because he said they were trying to get her to sell, and she was
they're going to charge her a stiff fee to buy back,
and then she was going to have to decide what to do with the money.
Yeah, well, she's going to pay a stiff fee to buy back, and right now we're finding the opposite. We've got Worldview people calling us that bought elsewhere that can't get liquid. There's companies out there, and I won't mention names, that are not buying back.
That's what I told him.
Advertise on TV. I mean, so for some, I find it sort of questionable, since a lot of these people, when people think they get it less for more, they're finding out that they can't sell it back. And then a lot of the dealers that they're out there will call Swiss America to buy back their metal because they don't have any money. We do. So the reality is there's a big mix. First of all, when you're talking about taking delivery of your metal, I've said a long time ago that the biggest way I've seen people ripped off is by having somebody store their metals. And in IRA, you have no choice. You have to have it stored because the government that looks at you as taking delivery as a cash distribution. If you can set up honest depository relationships, that's fine. But if you're dealing with a gold company, like I had somebody from Worldview talking to me about storing gold out of America, storing gold in England, storing gold in Canada. Well, excuse me. Read customs laws, ladies and gentlemen. Try to bring gold and silver back into the United States. First of all, you can do it. The fine or the fee you're going to pay is excessive. And if you sell out in the countries of question, they're going to pay you in their currency, not the US dollar that you put in. There was a famous deal out years ago with Perth Mint. There was a guy who was pushing it, who was very prominent. These guys disappear and then they show back up years later as great individuals who sold people gold in the Perth Mint. And there was a lady I had that had $3 million of it there and wanted to get it out, bring it back home. And she couldn't get it out. And she called us up and she was asking me for my advice. I said, ma'am, you can't do anything. First of all, Australia is not going to let you take the gold out. It's a law there. You can't take it out. And secondly, that's another question if they're going to let you sell it or take the money out. And she just sits back and said, well, why didn't somebody tell me this? And I said, probably because would you have bought it? Sometimes life is easy in black and white when you deal with reputable firms, and that's what we are. You know, sometimes people say, oh, yeah, I've talked to Johnny Jones Company and he'll sell it for 10 cents less. Good luck. And then when the problem happens later and you find out that you bought something that was questionable or that you bought something that they won't buy back, that's where we don't have a problem. Our clients and our people, and especially our people with Worldview and others, know that they can call upon us and they're liquidating $1,000, $10,000, or $1 million. It's taken care of. And immediately, liquidity with us, unless you come here, is usually 3 to 4 to 5 days tops, just because it takes time to get the metal to us. But that's it. We buy back because we want your metal. But you know, this is something that your friend might have a little bit more of a dilemma. There's always been problems with companies that store for individuals. Mm-hmm. And remember Larry Bates?
Yep.
And his son who are in prison?
Yep.
Look at all the people who lost a fortune of money because of the fact that they sat back and gave Larry that money. And realistically, I have one client that fortunately just got out by the skin of her teeth, but other people lost millions, 16, 18, $20 million. I don't know. Him and his son, I think, got out of prison finally. But these type of entities are a terrible way to do business. And, you know, that's where it comes into, you know, dealing with reputable firms. And I don't want to say anything other than the fact that I would not hang my name anywhere except here, period.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, folks. You want your free packet? We have the website, worldviewgold.com, worldviewgold.com. We have a new phone number, folks, a new phone number. So discard the old number. Only use this number, please, now, 877-864-1072. Leave your voicemail with your name and address, and the office will get that filled and that free packet out to you, or fill out the form on our website, worldviewgold.com, or 1-877-864-1072, 1-877-864-1072. As always, Michael, thank you for the financial update.
My pleasure. Good night, Dolly. See you later.
It's actually Dolly and Lily tonight. Can we get a shot of this, guys? Our little black schnauzer? Surely somebody can come in and turn the camera, right?
Oh, I see Lily.
Oh, yeah. We need to get a
I
close up of
see.
this.
I see Dolly's back. She's laying
Yes,
down.
we're going to get a close up. Hang on. We're going to get a close up. This one is worth showing because Lily is our little black schnauzer who's 11 now. We thought she was on her last leg last week, but she rebounded the next day. There she
Look
is.
at Dolly.
And Dolly loves her. She's afraid of the little black dog, to be honest. Yesterday, I put her food down for her, and I walked back around the corner, and Dolly had backed up and was letting Lily eat her food. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I took my foot and pushed the bowl toward Dolly. That little black dog rules the roost. She is the one in charge. She's the alpha dog. But Dolly is kind to her and lets her share a bed in the studio. So she comes in and sleeps there with her sometimes.
Outstanding.
That's Lily and Dolly, our 2 studio dogs. So there you go.
All right.
How are the cats doing, Michael?
Yeah.
How are the cats?
Oh, they're living the life.
Did you get
They're
into the
living
new
the life.
house?
I've been in the house since March, actually.
Okay, so they got their catio.
They have their catio. They go out there and hang out, and they see little animals and go crazy, but nobody can get in, and they just have a lot of fun out there. They enjoy their little catio, that's for sure.
Well, you're very nice to your kitties.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Probably treated better than most children, right?
That's true. Just with a cat, any cat owner out there knows one thing: you're the pet.
You're the pet. That's so true. That's so true. All right, they have you trained well. All right, thank you, Michael.
Good night.
All right, guys, what a broadcast tonight. Please go now to worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com, and support us so we can keep going. Let's roll the music. Let's call it a night. Wow, Dinesh D'Souza, Trevor Loudon, David Pine, Michael Weiner. What a broadcast tonight. Do you appreciate what we do? Do you appreciate the fact we're so consistent in programming here? We've been doing this now almost 36 years. 2026, that'll be 36 years I've been doing this, professionally broadcasting since 1995. We have a proven track record, folks. So support us, won't you? Worldviewfoundation.com or join our vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. My new book on Hamas, October 7th, comes to America, comes out this Friday. You don't have to buy it. It's part of your vault membership. Worldviewtube.com/vault. May God save America. Take care.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.